Hey everyone, today we look at how to play the Faceless, which is a co-op game, so player wins or lose together. So basically a quick overview of the game. So you play as a team of children trying to save Ethan, who's a missing child that was brought in the Dusk World by a Billy Goat, which is this guy. And so you need to go in there and save him. And so basically you're gonna go around collecting those souvenirs. So once you've collected all Ethan's souvenir, then you'll be able to bring him back into the real world. And that's the only way you can win. But there's 3 ways you can lose the game. Number one, if the event deck runs out. So if you need to draw a card but there's none left, then you lose the game. The second thing that can happen, if at any time Billy Goat has to move right on top of you, which in this game, you're the compass. So if he has to move right on top of you, you lose the game. Or the third thing is, if you have to move, and during your movement, you need to move into an obstacle, and you lose, unless you still have some souvenir points or tokens that you can use to save yourself. But if you have none left and you have to move, for this example, I would have to follow the red, and then I would have to move into the obstacle, and I would lose. So that's basically a quick overview of the game. So I already have the game set up. If you'd like to know how to set it up, you can always click on the eye icon on the top corner, and you can watch my video on how to set it up. On your turn, there will be 3 actions to choose from, and you'll need to perform one of these. You can either walk, rest, or whisper, and I will explain those right away. Let's look at a walk action. So we have 3 cards. So if you decide to play either yellow, green, or blue, you're gonna come on the board and choose the color of your chosen card. So for example, if this I pick the yellow, then I come here and I can move the yellow and I can turn him around however I want until I'm satisfied with where the compass is pointing, because I'm gonna have to move in the direction of the red needle. So let's say I could maybe put it here, so I want to move on that souvenir token. And I look here, I have a 1, and here I have a 2, so that would not have been good because I would have to move 1 and then 2, and I would have hit the obstacle, so I don't want that. But since it's only 1, then I'm gonna have to move 1. So I would move 1, then I could pick up the token. We can look at it, so it's a fire, so we come here and we can put it with the fire. So that is the possible action you can do when you pick one of those 3 colors. But when you move these guys around, you cannot move them past another figure. So I could not move him here or here. So as I have to stay on the same side, and I cannot be right next to the other figure. So I could not move him here, or I could not go around. The furthest I can go is here, and on the other side, the further I can go is here. When you play a red card, you're gonna move Billy Goat 1 space in any direction you want. So maybe I would want to move him so further away from me, since I'm over here. So I'm gonna move him one back, and then I look at the number on the bottom of the card. It says a 2, so I would have to move a 2. Well, in this case, that would not be good because I would hit the obstacle. But let's say this wasn't here, this might have been here, and I would have to move 2. So the needle is pointing more in this direction, so I move 1, then I look again at the red needle and it's pointing again this way, and I move again. So that's my 2 move. So always one step at a time. So it's not because the red needle is pointing in this direction that you necessarily have to do 1, 2. You always have to look at the red needle right after you moved. And if the red needle is pointing for some reason right in the middle of 2 circle, then you get to pick which direction you want to go, if it's right in the middle. The last type of card you can play is a purple card. So basically that allows you to move the compass in any direction you want. So we have a 2 right here. So I can move the compass 2 space without having to worry about the red needle. So I could do 1 and 2, or I could do 1, 2. So it doesn't have to be in a straight line. So you can change direction as you want. And that's it. Also, one thing to mention is if you move, so let's say I'm here and I want to go this way. So I can, and then I'm simply end up on the other side of the board, just like that. Or if I was here and I move this way, let's say 2, so that would be 1 and then 2. So I would end up all the way on the other side, right here. But you need to be careful. For example, if I'm here and I move 1 and then 2, I had an obstacle. Then I would need to use one of these tokens to save myself. And I would go back here. The billy goat will not follow this rule. Only you can go across. He can't. So if he has to move, let's say 2, 1, 1 and 2, he cannot do that. Okay, he has to stay on the same side of the board and he cannot go across. Last thing I want to mention about the walk is you can never move either the compass or the figurine on the side without playing the card. So you must play the card, then you figure it out after. You can't just be like, let's see, if I play this card, 2 moves, then I go on here, and then I look, let's say 1, 2, do I end up where I want with the needle pointing the right way? Not really, so let's see, maybe I want to play a green card instead, and so on. You cannot do this. So you need to play your card, then you figure out your move. The second action you can do on your turn is a rest action. So for example, if on my previous 2 turns I played 2 of my cards, now maybe I want to do a rest action. So that's going to allow me to take 2 cards because I'll need to reveal up to 3 cards. So let's see. There's 3 red here, so that can be dangerous. So maybe I'll want to take 1 red, put it back in my hand, and now I can pick another one to get up to 3. And there's 2 yellow, so I'll take a yellow, put it back in my hand. And there should always be at least the same number of cards that you pick at the beginning. So for me, that was 6. So you need to make sure there's always at least 6 cards. But as the game progresses, at the end of your turn, you always pick 1 card and add it to the deck. So just like this. So there should have been more, and as you take them, then you'll try to stay as close as possible to the number of cards you had at the beginning of the game. The third possible action you can do on your turn is a trade action. So you can trade cards or exchange card, or give cards. So let's say I would want another purple card here. So she could give it to me, but then I'll be over 3 cards, so I can't. So I would have to give 1 away. But if I only had 2 cards, then she could give it to me. As long as I never go over 3 cards, I can trade or give cards for the trade action. Now let's look at the memory effect. So once we're able to pick up some of the memory token, they will go here on the board in their designated space. So the fire goes on the fire, and those are one-time action, and they can be taken before your action or after your action. So if we look at this one, the rope. So if we're able to find the rope's going to allow us to move an obstacle to another free space, but we got to make sure to keep the rules of the setup properly. So if we look at this one, so this one, we still need to cover that symbol. Maybe I would want to, well, that's a bad example. Can't really move it around. I could move it around like this, but that would not be good. So let's just pick another example. Let's say this one. So maybe I would want to move it this way. So that's the rope. Now the fire, so discard up to 2 cards from the trade display. So you can discard up to 2 cards, and you always pick from the bottom of the column. Next thing, the music player. So you choose a player, that player draws cards from the thread display until they're back to 3 cards. So you can refill your cards. So in this case, I could go and pick up 1 card. The Elm Street. So move the team in any direction by 1 space as if you had just played a purple card. So I could move the compass 1 in any direction. The next one is the book. So move Alan's figure as if you've just played a blue. So you could move the blue one around, always respecting the movement. So I could not move it here, or I could not move it here. The further I can go is here, or the other way around here. The next one is the hat. So same thing, but with the green. And then the bow, so same thing, but with the yellow. And the bag of memories, so same thing, but with the red. So you just move him 1. And that's it. Those are the effect of the 8 memories as you gather. And once you've used them, you move them here, and then you can't use them again. And you also can't use them to save yourself from an obstacle. At the end of your turn, you need to do the threat phase. So you're gonna draw 1 card from the event deck. So if you pick a purple card, basically is you're gonna look at how many cards you have in the threat display here. So I have 1, so I'm gonna have to move 1 space following the red needle. So I would have to move 1 here. And it's a good thing I don't have to, because if I would have a second one, I would have had to move twice and I would have hit an obstacle. And we don't want that. And then once you've done it, you place it in the display. If you draw a red card, you're gonna have to look at how many cards is on the threat display. So we have 3. So I'm gonna have to move Billy Goat 3 spaces. He cannot go over obstacles, and he has to go toward where I'm at. So I need to see what's the shortest path. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can pick where I want him to go. So maybe I want him to go this way. So I would have to move him 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. And last thing is you need to rotate him so he's facing you. So he's affecting the needles to point toward him, which is dangerous for us. If you draw a yellow card, you're gonna look at the stack here of cards in the yellow. So I have a 1, 3, and 3. So I have to look at pairs. So even though I have 3 cards, I only have 1 pair. So what that means is I'm gonna have to rotate a figurine. So not the yellow one, it has to be either the green or the blue, and I'm gonna have to rotate it 180 degree. So maybe I wanna rotate the green one, and I'm gonna rotate it 180 degree, just like that. If I would have 2 pairs, then I would have to rotate this one also 180 degree, just like that. If you draw a blue cards, you're gonna look at the blue stack. So we have a 1 and a 2, so I do not have pair. But if I would have a pair, so after this one, I'm gonna have to discard it. So next time, if someone picks a blue card again, then we're gonna have a pair, a 2 and a 2. So that means that he's gonna get stronger. So I'm gonna have to pick 1 card from the event deck and add it to the threat display. I do not have to do the special action, if you will. I just add the card to the threat display, just like that. If you pick a green card, you're gonna look at how many pairs you have. So in this case, I have 1 pair of 3 and 1 pair of 1. So that means 2. So I'm gonna have, the first player is gonna have to discard 1 card. So let's say I want to discard this yellow one and just discard it. And then it goes to the second player. She does not have any cards to discard. So she's gonna have to take 1 card from the event deck and simply discard it. So making the game run out of cards faster. Because remember, if we run out of cards, we lose. And that's it. This is how we play the game. You win if you collected all the tokens. Whether you use them or not, it still count. You have all 8 of them, you win the game. And this is how we play the Faceless. Thanks for watching my video. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed it, and you can also subscribe by clicking on the logo down below. Thanks again for watching, and have a good day.